Good evening. It is Thursday, January 9th at 6:52 p.m. It's halftime from Piscataway, New Jersey. Your Boilers are up. Let's see, what are they? 33-24, I think, right now. Kind of the end of the half, kind of went out slowly after an awful goaltending call where Purdue lost 2 points. 2 points taken off the board. Purdue's still up by 9, in spite of the fact that Rutgers has turned the ball over 12 times. Purdue's only turned it over 3. Kind of noteworthy, I think. The reason I am doing a halftime look-in is because Jay Money, if you follow us on Twitter, is in the rack in Piscataway. He is based out of the Northeast, in case you didn't know that. I don't like to get too deep into the details there, but he's been there a couple times, and most of the time it doesn't go well, if we're being real honest. It's probably because of Jay. It's probably because of Jay, if we're being real honest. Thanks to Home Field Apparel. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. Enter Boiled25 at checkout. 15% off your first purchase. And when you're on campus and Purdue is playing a pretty good brand of basketball, head towards the fire station, turn left, go to AJ's. Eataj's.com. Burgers, beef, and beer. That's AJ's. And the best damn helpful staff on campus. I think I did a show recently where I didn't thank anybody. So I have some making up to do because they pay us billions of dollars in hugs. Honestly, it's not money. We do everything in trades mostly for hugs. So what are my big thoughts here at halftime? One of my favorite things about this game so far is the way Caleb First is playing. I think he's leading rebounder for Purdue. He had that absolute yam, where he turned the ball. He got the ball in the blocks, turned, big left-handed hammer. Amazing dunk. Also had a near half court alley-oop from Smith to Cam Heide. Fun to see. Miles Colvin isn't playing in a whole bunch. That's not one I think is my favorite. It's just kind of noteworthy. Smith and Lawyer 1-2 punch tandem look great. Look absolutely great. Let's see, I'm going to refresh this to make sure I get all the stats up to date. Right now, you've got Smith was leading everybody with 11 points, 7 assists. It's a hell of a half. And then Fletch Lawyer, 8 points, but he's only 4 for 10 from the field. He's had a couple shots that looked like they were almost down. And the thing that has gotten my attention about Lawyer the last few games, and maybe it's just me, I don't think it is, because I know LBD sees the same thing. But the craftiness of his game is pretty incredible. The shot creating, it's not like a lot of players that you see. A lot of guys that you think are good shot creators, they use athleticism or stuff, get up, elevate, that sort of thing. That's really not what Lawyer does. What Lawyer does is he finds a way to create just enough space and knock down shots. Although he's off his pace, he's usually a better shooter than this. Let's see. Lawyer he hadn't hit a 3 yet, and he's still got 8 points at the half. On the other side of the ball, one thing that I think it's noteworthy, because I haven't watched Rutgers play a whole bunch. I've watched 2 halves, haven't paid attention to it all that much. But one thing I think it's really interesting, if you didn't know this, Ace Bailey was in 2 R&B groups back in the late 80s and early 90s. Belle Biv DeVoe and New Edition. Belle Biv DeVoe, of course, spun off New Edition, and he's Ronnie DeVoe. So that's noteworthy to me, though, that Ace Bailey is Ronnie DeVoe. I've never seen them together, so I assume, since they look exactly alike, that it's the same guy. Maybe at halftime, who knows? Maybe Ace Bailey, Ronnie DeVoe will be singing some songs or doing a dance or rap. I mean, whatever it is, it's going to be entertaining. We know that. Rack is a tough place for Purdue. It's good to see Purdue up. It's really noteworthy that they're not up by that much, only up by 9 with that many turnovers. Rutgers was turning over the ball at a very high rate early in the game. And the reason that the game is staying close, in my opinion, if I look at everything, is Purdue's rebounding continues to be pretty crappy. Rutgers has thrown some dudes at Purdue, though. I mean, big dudes, guys that I don't know their names, partially because, like I said, I don't watch a lot of Rutgers basketball, but they've got guys, Mag is gone and Uncle Cliff is gone, but they've got new guys, and they're big. One guy has shorts on that would probably fit me, but he's about 6'11". That's unfortunate. So this would be a good win for Purdue because it's another road game. It's a good opportunity for them to put one on the board. But this is, in spite of Rutgers only being 8-7, 1-3 in conference, this is a tough place historically for Purdue, and I'm not going to trivialize that at all. And I mean every bit of that. The RAC is tough. The RAC's a tough place to play. The fans are on top of the action. One thing that's noteworthy, if you watch it on TV, it seems like a lot of people that are in the arena have never watched a college basketball game. Some of the booing makes no sense at all. And I don't know what the deal is with that. I really don't. I have no idea. But the basketball IQ and the fans there isn't high, but they're loud. So that's worth something. And they are disruptive. Yeah, Dylan Harper's pretty good. Purdue's kept him pretty much in a bottle. And that's CJ Cox has done a great job on defense. Here's one thing that continues to be another theme that we've seen over and over. Bench points are at a minimum, or if you want to say bench points are at a premium for Purdue. Purdue only has 4 of them right now. And it doesn't matter what lineup Paint throws and he moves guys around. The guys coming off the bench tend to not be super productive, and I cannot figure this out. I mean that because you've had everybody but Burgess that's coming off the bench has started at one point in the season, and they all looked like starters when they played. Granted, Heidi and Colvin had a quiet period there for a couple games where they weren't producing much, but they've all looked like starters at different points of the season, but now they really don't. Purdue, here's another thing that's crazy if we're talking about this 9-point deficit and why is Purdue only up by 9 in spite of the major turnover deficit. Purdue's shooting the 3 poorly overall. It's not just Fletch shooting poorly. Purdue's shooting at 15.4%. One thing it's fun to see, wow. And Purdue has shot 8 free throws and is shooting 37.5%. That's noteworthy too. I think water will find its level on both those things. If Purdue can come out with fire, this is just like the last game versus Northwestern. Purdue's defense is creating offense, doing an excellent job on defense. If they can start hitting shots, holy moly, Purdue could beat up on them pretty good. So a couple of you are here live in spite of the fact that this is an unusual in-game look-in. Like I said, Jay will have the post-game, and I don't know what he's going to do. It's up to him. It's his big day. But he is going to have to leave the rack, go home, and either post a post with words or a video post, whatever he wants to do. I told him no pressure, but I wanted to give a look in since this is kind of what we've done. This has been the rhythm. And he is on the press. He's on press row, which is really, really cool. If you're watching our Twitter feed, if you pay attention to that, he had a picture from inside the rack. An unusual haze was over the crowd. I'm sure there was some sort of fireworks display. I hope there was one anyway, because if there's not and the air quality is that low, that's a problem. Let me talk to you guys. Ted Berkey says need to hit threes. Need to hit free throws too, Ted. I agree. Marshall Briggs says, love this idea, halftime looking. We bring in what you want, what you like. Hopefully we'll do this more this season. I've done this a couple times where I've gotten weird with the rhythm on post games, either started it early but it's, who knows? John Harrell, my pal, says halftime show with the show. Yes. And, John, hope you're doing well. I know right now you're probably chasing children around, but watching the game, doing your best. I appreciate it. Broxton Davis says, this halftime show will be better than FS1. Good call, B-Dowd. I find that hard to believe because I find everybody on television to be very, very knowledgeable. Yeah, you should probably tune in and ditch me. I'm just kidding because most of them are bad. One thing I will say, though, right now is they're talking about Mick Cronin, his comments the other day after they got clubbed by Michigan. Unusual motivation tactic to just go public with your discourse, with your discouragement, with your negativity. But Cronin did it. He went all in, put all of his chips on the table and said, yeah, my guys don't play tough. They're soft. Those are his guys. And he went heavy into the portal, and he has a bunch of guys that sounds like he doesn't like very much. Always a good move to do that. I think one of his quotes that stood out to me was the idea that he has more energy than his players at practice. That's an interesting thing to say. I know there are mixed opinions on this idea about a coach coming to that public being that negative. And one of the big things is, okay, many of these are from the NIL and they're pros. I get the idea. The problem that I have with this is it's just not a good way to motivate an employee, if you want to look at it that way. To go public with your anger, with your negativity is not the right way to do it, in my opinion. Granted, it can be effective. Maybe you light a fire under one or two guys, but to say your whole team kind of sucks, I question it. We'll see. We'll see if it works. Nathan A says, evening boiler doubt, is Jay in attendance? Yes, he is. Need to be inversed. How are you? It says, tough shooting from the line and from three. Great idea. Love the halftime look-in. Happy to do it, and good to see you the other night again. Matt Keller says they should handle business, but hard place to play. Yeah, they should. Funny things happen there, right? And like I said, it's a different experience. It's a very old school arena. It's one of those that I think is one of the best to play in America because the fans are on top of you, so which is a really cool thing. I'm gonna have good. I got a little bit of time. I thought they're gonna go right back to the game. Rose Adams says Caleb's on fire. Right on. Eric Johnson says bricking from the 3-point line. Yeah, they look bad. The only guy, one of my favorite moments of the first half was Braden Smith hitting a three. He was catching hell from an alum, a Rutgers alum, in the front row, and he let him know. He let him have it, which was awesome to see. Those guys, like I said, the fans are absolutely on top of the court, so you're hearing it. And that's a little bit, Jay reminded me, a little bit like the moxie that we saw from Boogie Edwards, right? Same type of thing. I'd say years ago, the moxie we saw at Penn State from Conzo Martin, that type of thing. When they're right next to you and you're shooting a three, yelling in your ear or whatever, I think it's okay to maybe let them know that they're stupid. Jeremiah Easterbrook says, evening to you as well. Nate says, the J Money curse must be exercised. And the only way you exercise a curse like that is go to the heart of the problem. Go to the den of the lion and make it happen. So Jay is doing his bidding there. Ben Dover says, lots to like from the first half. Hopefully more threes fall in the second half. They will. I think the water will find its level. Rose says 1,000 points for Fletch. That's a big deal, right? I think that was early in the game. Fletch Lawyer got his 1,000th point as a Boilermaker. His career, I think we take he and Smith for granted. I really mean that. I'm not trying to be funny at all, but the fact that they've been so consistent, so good, and they've played in every damn game that they've had at Purdue University is really amazing. They started at every game. Really, really incredible. Oh, look at this. Jack-O-Lantern22. Jay Muddy says, look, I may have been here for the loss when Purdue was number one, but Anish and I saw a 15-point win here. Yeah, the 50-point win was when, oh, shoot. Who went off? Taylor. Is it Taylor? Who am I thinking? Jay, tell me who it was. Power forward went off. I know the game you're talking about. Darn it. Brain. It's a problem with live streams. But yeah, you were there for that win. I think you've been there for more than one loss, Jay. So you can tell me I'm wrong, but it feels like you're to blame every time Purdue loses to Rutgers. I actually was at the Rutgers-Purdue game at Purdue when they lost, like I said, a year ago, I think. So I'm to blame as well. Ben Cotton says, defense lives here, but it apparently takes a road trip to New Jersey. Yeah, the defense is defining the day, and Purdue has a good chance to show their veteran smarts versus a couple young guys, specifically Harper and Bailey. Those guys, I mean, they're very, very good, no doubt about it. But the teams that Purdue has struggled against have been heavily veteran laden, meaning 22, 23, 24-year-old guys. I keep saying this. Someone told me I was making an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's an observation. When those teams are aggressive, when they are guard heavy, athlete heavy, Purdue has struggled. Reference Marquette, reference Auburn specifically, Texas A&M, another team. These are old teams. And I don't know how old Penn State is, but those other three were old veteran-laden teams. And when I say veteran, I mean they probably went to school with me. Jeff Nestor says BS is on fire. Right on. Matt Keller says, I think they should play Burgess more and grab more rebounds. Got to do something about the glass. There's no doubt. Hopefully Painter will figure this out before the end of the season. But in the middle of the season, it's definitely a concern. I'm going to close it down here in a second when this goes live so you guys can watch the game. But Jeff Nestor asks, was TKR in foul trouble? Let's look at that real quickly. Kaufman-Renn had two personal fouls. And if you don't know this, once a big man gets two fouls, it's Painter's policy to generally pull him out of the game and try to kind of bide his time so they don't get a cheap third before the end of the first half. That philosophy goes back before Edey was at Purdue, but he definitely employed it with the two-headed big man of Trey and Edey. So it's not a new thing, but yeah, 2 fouls is pretty much. That's a policy, I'd say. Scott Courtney says, like the halftime show. Thanks. Thanks for being here. Zach Welch says, we seem to be really running transition more than we have been. Sign of more to come. Would love to see a higher tempo and spurts and Braden running. Cam and Miles, uber athletic. So that last part, I love that point. But I was told this was in the comments, somebody said this was a very unathletic Purdue team. It's an asinine idea. Purdue is very athletic. What Purdue is lacking is strength and size, I'd say. And I mean that especially in the backcourt. When you go up against teams that have 6'5" guards that are 25 years old, you're going to have some problems. Purdue has nothing they can do about that other than hopefully see guys mature. This game's about to go live. I'm going to look down here. Jeff Nestor says first had a great first half. Nita Banverse says this great point. Praise in public, criticize in private. Absolutely. I think it's more effective than Cronin's approach. Absolutely. Jeremiah Easterbrook says, do you like raftery? Sometimes. I kind of like the old guys generally because I just like, it's a little nostalgia. So the half is over. I'm going to stop and wrap this up. But sometimes that's a really weak answer, but that's what I'm going to say. So, 3 for 8 for the free throw line is really bad. And that's it. So I'm going to hand this off to Jay long distance. Your next podcast or post game will be Purdue turns the ball over. Will be Jay Money at some time after the game. But he said the Wi-Fi is not great in the rack. So Bailey from 3 in the corner misses. And Lawyer gets a rebound, and one of Rutgers' bigs is complaining that he was hit. I'm sure he'll get the benefit of the doubt because NCAA officiating. God bless you. Hammer down. Talk to you soon. Purdue is up by 9. It's just after halftime from Piscataway. That was not an intentional. Boy, that's rough, though. He got banged between TKR, who reached for the ball, caught him on the face, and he ran into, looks like, first chin. Ugh. That's hard. Big dudes, big heads, big arms. It doesn't feel great. So God bless you. Hammer down. Talk to you soon. Hopefully Purdue can get another victory. We'll talk to you later. See ya.